World of Warcraft War in the Plague Lands. Now, this is probably what I wish would have been the expansion. Some kind of, scourgy Plague Land shit. I know we already dealt with the Lich King, but we didn't deal with him. We basically defiled the Lich King lore in Shadowlands. And I think something like this would have been cool. But let's check this out. World of Warcraft War in the Plague Lands. Let's see what this is all about.
My son,
I already splooged in my
the
pants.
day you were born,
It's
the
the best
very
cinematic.
forests of Lordaeron whispered
Like-
the name
It's still the best lore in the game, man.
Arthas.
It's so good.
This kingdom shall fall, and from the ashes shall arise a new order that will shake the very foundations of the world.
It's the end of the Third War. Arthas plunged Frostmourne into his father's chest to become king.
Can I just say real quick, this is World of Warcraft, man. This is so hardcore compared to what we currently have. We were just talking about Rathian and Viranoth flying around and befriending all the other dragonflights via diplomacy. Like, that's literally, word for word, like what is happening in the next patch. That's World of Warcraft today, power of friendcraft. When back in the day we had a corrupted son who recently purged civilians from an entire city only to come back and plunge a corrupted blade into his father's chest. How are these part of the same game? How are these part of the same game? This lore is fantastic. Current lore, I can't even say
of
what it is.
Lordaeron. That day, he decreed his kingdom burn for the glory of the Scourge. He ascended the frozen throne and became the Lich
Unbelievable.
King, leaving his kingdom to rot. His right hand, Kel'Thuzad, was left in charge and rules from the dread necropolis of Naxxramas, supported by Noth the Plaguebringer, Baron Rivendare, the Barov family, the monstrous Patchwork, doomed Sapphiron, and soon dark champions like Alexandros Morgraine. Scourge victory feels like a foregone conclusion.
This is an expansion
In
that I want,
Southshore,
man.
the last of the Silver Hand,
like a
in
classic plus or
desperate
something, I
attempt
don't know.
to find a way for humanity to survive. Two things come from that room: a crystal soon forged into the Ashbringer, and a new crusade, one to wipe the stain of the Scourge from Lordaeron, one paid for with blood, the Scarlet
Shit.
Crusade. From Tyr's Hand, High General Abendis marches to Stratholme, where Saidan Dathrahan claims foothold in the burning city. Whitemane and her sycophants have taken the Tirisfald Monastery, and with it, extremism runs rampant through
Whitemane.
the crusade. Intolerance, trauma, blood.
I love her.
The crusade is lost to madness nearly as soon as it begins. But some turn away.
No problem,
At Light's
Tiger.
Hope Chapel, a new order is formed, the Argent Dawn, and with it, humanity may yet have a chance in their ancestral homeland.
Man, I miss the Argent Dawn. We need more Argent Dawn lore. Argent Dawn is so badass.
Today, we are talking about one of Warcraft's most brutal wars, the one we've never seen in-game, the War in the Plague Lands. Trust me, this one is going to be quite the ride.
This would be very cool, like as a Classic Plus expansion, because like he's saying, right, you don't have to necessarily go to Northrend to get Wrath of the Lich King-esque stuff. A Classic Plus like this would be amazing, because we never played through this stuff. All of this stuff happened prior to any Wrath of the Lich King lore. So you could experience all of this stuff in a Classic Plus. Oh my god. I would actually play Classic Plus then. I would try it out just to experience the story. And I'm a retail
our
Andy.
sponsor, LG Ultra Gear. I've been rocking the 27-inch 240Hz OLED for over a month now. Amazing colors, deep blacks,
What's up,
buttery
Anderson?
refresh rate. I'm absolutely spoiled. And there really is just something goofy mind-blowing about power leveling a character at 240 Hz. I mean, seriously, at 240 Hz, it feels like you're watching another reality rather than a sequence of frames. Learn more at the link down below.
Yeah, that's kind of monitor I have.
What I just described is Lordaeron at the end of the Third War. That is how Warcraft 3 ended. Yeah, there are a few other things I could mention, like the Forsaken or the Blood Elves, but back then they're part players. The biggest stories were unfolding in the Plague Lands. Then World of Warcraft launched, and we got to Lordaeron, and we realized that the story did not go into stasis after the Third War, that in fact a lot had happened. Who were these Argent Dawn guys? How the hell are they
They're
related
badass,
to
that's
the
what
other
they are.
new, totally bonkers group, the Scarlet Crusade?
Look at this
What
shit. Hold on, look at this shit real quick. Think about the Dragon Isles and how, like, I'm not going to say the Dragon Isles aren't pretty. They are, but look at this. You got fucking corpses hanging from a tree. This guy's literally hanging by his legs, and his hands are cut off. How is this part of the same game? Right now, we've got little whelplings flying around like Disney Pixar characters, and in the same game, we have corpses hanging from a tree in front of a cathedral of Kool-Aid drinking, zealots. Same game. Yep, same game.
Crusade. What did the Dreadlords Balnazzar and Varimathras get up to? Between Warcraft 3 and World of Warcraft,
exactly,
Lordaeron's brutal story continued. What happened that time may be one of Warcraft's greatest stories. And it begins in Southshore. Alexandros Morgraine, High Lord of the Silver Hand, had gathered his closest friends and allies. He brought to them a void crystal taken from an orc warlock during the Second War. When they tried to destroy it with the light, a most miraculous thing happened. It transformed into the very opposite, a light crystal. It was so powerful we now presume it was part of a Naru brought from Dranwar. But before they could celebrate, Sidon Dathrahan arrived and told the meeting that Arthas had just disbanded the Silver Hand and culled Stratholme. They decided that the Scourge threat was too great and a new crusade would need to be fought in secret. Morgraine and Inquisitor Fairbanks went to Ironforge to have the Ashbringer made. General Abendis, Inquisitor Asilian, Arcanist Doan, and Lord
Imagine exploring the in-game lore of the creation of the fucking Ashbringer. A literal weapon that when it strikes anyone infected by the plague, they turn into a fucking pile of ash. They are burned to cinders by the power of the light. Holy shit, man. Today we get like the Wand of Friendship or something. Like that's probably a weapon would be lootable. We literally have a boss that does abilities called Glittering Surge. And I'm supposed to be afraid of that. When I have the fucking Ashbringer.
Dathrahan then traveled to
this would be great, Lord, exploring the game.
Left to humanity, Hearthglen. Against them marched Rivendare's Scourge from Stratholme, Barov's cultists from Scholomance, and legions of fresh zombies from Araj the Summoner.
Yeah, I'm sure you did in Legion. You did stuff like this.
Until now,
this is the creation of it.
Scourge had gone uncontested, but Arthas be damned, the Silver Hand were now fighting back.
Nice.
Hearthglen was immediately put under siege by hordes of undead, and as the corpses mounted at the gates and plague began to seep through the walls themselves, Alexandros and Fairbanks returned from Ironforge with the Ashbringer, laid waste to the Scourge and broke the siege.
Badass.
Alexandros had two sons, Renault, full of pride and ambition, and Darian, younger but filled with love and duty. But the news was out. The Order was in ruins, Uther was dead, and now Arthas had murdered the king. The end times truly had come. It was so desperate, the most radical voices became the loudest. Small indiscretions became blasphemy, and everything turned toward the basic
this is so
fact of
badass,
survival.
man.
Abendis became
it's like making me excited and sad at the same time. The music, the fucking goriness of the story. That's just what I want,
folk hero to the people, but her worldview became intolerant, even of the living. Organizations like the Brotherhood of the Light, who had long been a radical sect of the Silver Hand, spread their teaching. But with the Ashbringer, there was still some hope. An assault was mounted in Stratholme, led by Alexandros and Sidon Dathrahan. The city's lord was Baron Rivendare, but the Dreadlord Balnazzar was truly pulling the strings, and this is where we reach the first tipping point. Dathrahan, a stalwart, if a bit radical paladin, was separated from the group. Lost and alone in the ever-burning fires of the city, he was cornered by Balnazzar, murdered and possessed.
Shit.
Dathrahan, seeming a bit shocked, walked out of the fires to Morgraine and the Silver Hand, his allies now unaware that he was in fact a Dreadlord.
Oh, shit.
With victories under their belt, it was now time to expand. Word finally came from Tyr's hand that the city stood and had an army waiting to march. At the conclave of Crusader lords, Maxwell Tyrosus suggested inviting dwarves and elves to the crusade. Abendis and Dathrahan, the core of the radical new interpretation of the light, outright refused. Morgraine was on the fence, but decreed that humanity had to deal with its own problems.
Morgraine knows what to do.
And so their group became more insular. Problems, of course, included the Forsaken. In the west, the capital had been infested with them, but they were on the ropes and would be easy to clear out. The first step was retaking the Tirisfal Cathedral as a forward base. Balnazar, whose brother Varamathras was in fact currently infiltrating the Forsaken, was outraged at the plan to attack the Undercity and decided it was finally time to deal with Alexandros. So, through Sidon, he had slowly corrupted the mind of Morgraine's son, Renault, working on his pride and his trauma.
Oh shit, this is the Dreadlord
Sidon
corrupted
and
guy.
Renault then set a plan in action. Renault told his father that his father's son and Renault's brother, Darian, had rode into Stratholme alone and was in danger. So, Alexandros and Fairbanks rode to the city, but it was a trap. They were surrounded by Scourge, thousands throwing themselves at the Ashbringer until the man wielding it grew tired. Finally, dropping the sword in sheer exhaustion, Renault took up the blade. Emotional damage!
Yeah, this is sad. This is definitely sad. This is part of the greatness of this story of the Ashbringer is how it gets corrupted like this. One of the coolest parts of the whole game, again.
His father's back. Fairbanks was crushed under piles of bodies, but alive, and saw this betrayal. Barely making it out of the city, he took what he saw back to the Crusade and told anyone who would listen. He openly accused
Isn't that where it becomes the corrupted Ashbringer?
Of orchestrating the ambush, orchestrating the death of their leader, Alexandros. But Sidon was too powerful by this point and accused Fairbanks of being infected by the plague. And so sent him for execution. His body was hidden in a secret chamber of the Scarlet Monastery, where he would wait for years to be put out of his misery. Sidon and Abendis then led the majority of this order into a new sect, a sect that they called the Scarlet Crusade. Those few who were left with
Scarlet Crusade,
sense,
yeah, I've heard of them before,
quietly exited this group, with Maxwell Tyrosus forming the Argent Dawn. Kel'Thuzad's twisted mind had been left in charge of the scourging of Lordaeron. Naxxramas, to achieve this, floated from the frozen north and finally settled.
I mean, so Kel'Thuzad would probably be some type of raid boss in this Classic Plus expansion or whatever this would be. I mean, that's fine. You know, Kel'Thuzad as a raid boss? That's never been done before in this game. We need it again. No, but realistically, this would be a cooler version of it because this would be like the, this would be peak Kel'Thuzad that we'd be fighting. Not some kind of like, aftermath. We've seen him before. He's trying to return Kel'Thuzad. This would be like peak Kel'Thuzad.
Pouring plague over the land, and from this vantage point he watched the crusade fall apart and finally descended to Stratholme to claim the body of Alexandros, of course still there from his slaying at the hands of his manipulated son and silent
shit.
He raised him as a Death Knight and the head of his four horsemen.
I did not know that this was how he became one of the four horsemen. I mean, obviously it made sense. He was holding the corrupted Ashbringer. He had been killed by it himself, by his son. But I didn't know about the whole corruption of his son and how that shit happened.
Personal champions.
This is such a great story.
It was time now for the Scourge to strike back. To the Crusaders in Scarlet Monastery, he sent wave after wave of Scourge. So long and consistent the assault, it became known as the Summertide Assaults. But Renault Morgraine, Sally Whitemane, and their solid core of fanatical Crusaders broke the back of the Scourge forces in Tirisfal, giving them a chance to spread throughout the region, reclaiming old Alliance strongholds and towers.
Dude, say what you want about the Scarlet Crusade, they got shit done. They got fucking results, man. They pushed back against these waves of invasions of the Scourge, and not only did they push it back, they reclaimed some Alliance territory. I tell you, man, Lady Whitemane and those thighs, they can motivate men to do glorious things. That's
in the depth of the Plaguelands, around the small Chapel of Lights,
I'd go to war for Lady
the core
Whitemane.
of the Argent Dawn were coming together. Orcs, elves, and dwarves were now in their ranks. There were even some Forsaken, leading to a prominent Argent Dawn presence at the bulwark between Tirisfal and the Plaguelands. But there were only dozens, where the Scarlets had hundreds and hundreds. The Scourge pressure was relentless, but the Crusaders were undaunted, this time pushing back a lich called Kirkazan the Zealous in what would be called the Siege of the Sanguine, when it became clear that luck and the light were on their side. But no matter their faith or fury, the Argent Dawn were too small, and so they entered an uneasy alliance with the Scarlet Crusade. By this point,
Shit, the
Brotherhood
Argent
of
Dawn and
Light
the
would
Scarlet
throw in
Crusade,
with
let's go.
The Argent Dawn, but they still were the most radical sect, essentially becoming the perfect bridge between these two crusades. And through big personalities like Eligor Dawnbringer, humanity, at least briefly, was united in Lordaeron.
So
That
badass.
is when the plan that would eventually...
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Gamer Chef, thank you so much. A raid of 20. Rate of 20 coming in. You guys came in at the right time. We are watching what would essentially be Classic plus a storyline here. Basically, the beginning of the Scourge invasions and everything going on just after Arthas killed his father. This is freaking amazing.
lead to
Settle in,
Scourge
boys.
defeat in
Join us.
Lordaeron was set in motion. Darian Morgraine, Alexandros' uncorrupted son, along with a crack squad of Argent Dawn warriors and paladins, infiltrated Naxxramas and retrieved the corrupted Ashbringer. Killing Alexandros, the sword took his soul. And with it, Darian escaped, unlike, of course, many who would join him. Enraged at this,
Badass.
Kel'Thuzad launched his largest attack yet, aiming the full might of the Scourge at this one backwater.
You've got fucking Kel'Thuzad, the most corrupted piece of shit out there, leading an army of undead against an alliance of the Scarlet Crusade and a bunch of, light embraced boys. It's amazing. What a great story. What a great story this is. What an epic moment this would be to play in game. Imagine you get some type of imagine this is some type of dungeon or instance content where you could literally fight back the Scourge alongside the Scarlet Crusade and the Argent Dawn. What the hell? Freaking amazing.
And this was the first
Or
battle
we can continue to, fondle whelpling balls in the Dragon Isles. You could do that too.
for Light's Hope.
It's up to you.
Chapel. Light's Hope may be small, but it was hiding a big secret. Built underground are a huge series of catacombs, which one day would become the Paladin Order Hall. During the Silverhands fight, earlier on in the war, they retrieved the bodies of fallen paladins from Stratholme and laid them to rest in the catacombs. There were hundreds of them now, and Kel'Thuzad wanted them. But more than that, he wanted the soul of the last Morgraine. He wanted Darian. So he planned the largest assault yet. Meanwhile, Darian had discovered an old hermit living in the wilds of the Plaguelands, a once famous paladin, Tyrion Fordring. For the crime
Tyrion
of befriending
Fordring?
an orc, a veteran of the Second War called Eitrig, he was banished from
It's like finding Obi-Wan in the desert. Like you just find this amazing paladin.
Always use another.
Thank you for the sub, Camp Shady. I appreciate that, man. Death Knight of
Smiley
our
face.
Scourge. 12 months. Oh my God, it's your 1 year. Thank you, thank you. Finding Tyrion Fordring, this unbelievably skilled and amazing paladin just sitting in the middle of a hut in a forest. Yeah, tell me this is not the Obi-Wan of World of Warcraft.
city. He was then just watching helplessly as the kingdom fell. But with Darian, he had a chance to impart his hard-won wisdom. That ultimately, through all of the gnarliness and the hopelessness, the only thing that can win through is true love. You can see that in his own past and story. It's clearly a powerful component of light magic, but in reality, it's what comes out of that love. It's self-sacrifice, honor, duty, the things that the light does respond to.
Yes.
Now wielding the corrupted Ashbringer, Darian was at the core of the Argent forces at Light's Hope. But bearing down on them was the largest Scourge force since Arthas had walked those lands. They stumbled over in their thousands towards the defenders. Maxwell, Tyrosus, Bartholomew
Freaking
the
amazing to
Revered,
play through this.
and dozens of other big famous crusaders you'd recognize from the game launched into the Scourge lines. It was a hard-fought battle, but the lines barely moved until Tyrion arrived and the tide began to turn. But Kel'Thuzad was playing with them, and at that point he sent in the horsemen. The defenders were pushed back to the steps
fuck.
of the chapel. That's when
The
Darian
4 horsemen are coming in this battle. Oh shit, this is so
realized what Tyrion
fucking
meant.
epic.
And with no hope left, only love, he plunged the corrupted Ashbringer into his chest. His sacrifice releasing his father's soul from the blade and freeing him from the Scourge. But with this, something else happened. The light had responded to this humongous act of sacrifice and duty.
Let's go.
With it, the souls of hundreds of the dead paladins from the catacombs flooded the hills of the Plaguelands, turning the Scourge they touched to dust.
Damn, this is like that moment in Lord of the Rings where the ghost army comes through and just freaking purges the land of all the enemies. This would be so crazy to see. Imagine they made a cutscene of this, where like he plunges the corrupted Ashbringer in his chest, and bam, a fucking huge ghost army just comes and turns everything to ash. What an amazing moment this would be in game.
At this, Kel'Thuzad merely laughed. He would pay twice that again in Scourge. Corpses are cheap. He got what he wanted. He took the body of Darian Mograine and returned it to Naxxramas, raising Darian to replace his father as the leader of the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, the leader of the Death Knights, too.
That then is where Lordaeron stood on the eve of Warcraft launching. Kel'Thuzad floated above the Plague Lands, with Darian leading the Four Horsemen and the full might of the Scourge being back. Maxwell led the few remaining Argent Crusaders as they tried to spread their message of hope and defiance through the Alliance, looking for champions to come to Lordaeron and to help. Abendis and Sidon Dathrahan led the Scarlet Crusade from Tyr's Hand and the Scarlet Enclave in Stratholme. As the Scarlet Star waned, the Argents would rise. From a core of desperation, they eventually would bring the war to Icecrown itself. But as we, new players, first set foot in the Plague Lands, one war had just ended. Humanity was truly on the brink. And from there, we know what happened, because we were the ones who fought that war back in vanilla. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I think this is one of the most just special and exciting stories in Warcraft. We did trim quite a lot to fit this into one video. It's the sort of thing that if I had unlimited time and budget, I mean, man, you'd love to put together a mini-series in this sort of thing, wouldn't you? So many big, legendary characters, amazing action scenes, incredible moments.
A classic
It truly is one of the greatest stories out there in World of Warcraft. Okay, well, there's other videos to check out, plenty of lore in this channel. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you next time.
Dude, I'm shook. I'm shook at how good this freaking story is. My God. Even just a Netflix series on this story alone would be unbelievable. This is the WoW I miss. This is the WoW I miss. This is the WoW that had some freaking girth to it, man. If only. If only. Classic Plus, a Plague Lands expansion.